The Highline Racing League, when it comes to its schedule, oftentimes leads us to the unpredictable. And tonight is no exception. For the second time this week, and of course the first time in several seasons, the Highline Racing League heads back to the Northeast, and this time around it's not Watkins Glen, it's not Richmond Raceway, it's not New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's a bigger track, and it's an oval at that. Welcome back to the 2.5-mile circuits, but it's not Daytona. This time around, it's the Pocono Raceway. You're watching coverage of Season 19 of the Highline Racing League Westlake Royal Building Products Premier Series. And tonight, Long Pond, Pennsylvania plays host, and we're back in the Poconos. I'll be your host for tonight's event. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and we have a star-studded lineup of 30 drivers taking on this 2.5-mile circuit for 70 laps. Currently, qualifying is halfway complete. It looks like by this point, 29 of 30 drivers have already taken a time, and the only exception is the man we're watching right now in Andrew Baker. The number 33 of Baker right now is looking to take it up to the top, but currently DJ Stagner has that pole position. Swamp Motorsport has been dominant so far this season. Lucas Lodato collecting 2 victories so far on the campaign, back to back, and now you'll see Dylan Wedgwood on his way. Wedgwood up into 21st. Andrew Baker right now coming across the line. Baker will go P29 on that lap. Qualifying now is going to come to a close as all 30 drivers have taken a time. Wedgwood is taking some extra laps to prepare. Same goes for Andrew Baker, but the field now knows exactly where it will line up relative to one another. DJ Stagner has the pole, and it means that once again the Swamp Motorsports crew starts up and in front. Notably, teammate Sebastian Miller is also inside the top 5. 2 minutes left on the clock here for both drivers to take some extra laps, and it looks like now Wedgwood would slide into pit road, and he'll take his number 14 Ford Mustang off the circuit. Track is now fully empty, and qualifying has come to a close, so before our starting grid comes to life, let's get to know everyone in your lineup from top to bottom, all 30 drivers. Inside of row number 1, we've already mentioned him, but as we talk about your starting grid from Pocono, he's the man of the hour once again. DJ Stagner and Swamp Motorsports grab the pole position. Stagner starting first inside of row 1 with a 55.551, quickest time on the board, and it looks like he's there by a half a tenth. Then from there, you got Terry Brooks with a 55.601, who will start in second. Brooks is coming off a strong run last week and still eyeing his first victory of the season. Dylan Poteet will begin in P3, and Sebastian Miller will be just behind and diagonal from his teammate as he qualifies in 4th. Casey Heschel goes 5th place, and Alan Kunman will go in 6th, with Dawson Buchanan 7th, Joey Chapman then finding himself in 8th, and then you'll have the Flying Scotsmen, Scott Wheeler and Scott Zellner, rounding out row 5, 9th and 10th respectively. 11th place then and there will be Connor Holden in number 81. It'll be 70 Matt Muir starting in 12th with Jim Font, then 13th, and Tyler Hampton 14th place as Lucas Lodato now eyes 3 consecutive victories. He'll start tonight inside of row 8 in 15th. Roberto Ramirez in number 41 will be 16th place as Joshua Sim finds himself 17th. Chad Winstead will begin in P18. Corey Blevins and Caleb Morrissey take the final 2 spots inside the top 20. Then you'll have Dylan Wedgwood, Jimmy McKee, Matthew Rodriguez, Jacob Hom, Kenny Brooks, Ty Smith, Sean Billman, Jason Harris, and the final 2 drivers on your lineup tonight, the number 33 of Andrew Baker and Colton Gardner in the number 40. All 30 drivers have taken a time in qualifying tonight, and at the top of the board will be the number 64 of DJ Stagner. That's your starting grid from the Pocono Raceway, and now it's about time the entire field gets together and lines up on pit road. And perfect timing, as a matter of fact. There's Dylan Poteet. He'll be starting in P3, and the rest of the field populates right with him. DJ Stagner doing the honors of getting up front tonight. While Stagner did not individually win at Daytona, his team has proven they are still dominant, winning their 4th consecutive race at the World Center of Racing in Highline Racing League competition. An unbelievable accolade for the Swamp Motorsport guys, and they did it with their newest driver in Lucas Lodato, but that leaves the veteran in Stagner looking for an opportunity to win. Didn't lock up that season opener, and it means right now he's still wide open for any race, no matter, of course, when or where it comes. Time remains to find success, and for DJ Stagner, the time is now to try to look for a win here. You'll see the entirety of the lineup put together. Further back is Lucas Lodato, then you'll have Caleb Morrissey, Dylan Wedgwood, Jimmy McKee and the like, and Jason Harris at the tail end. Tonight though, Alan Kunman, the man who will start in 6th place, is a primary focus. He's not yet on the racing circuit, but tonight's event, as you know, it doesn't have its traditional name. In fact, we have a special event in place. This is the John Roark Classic, and as you can see at the top of your chat room tonight, we have a pinned message sending donations. That's because for tonight, Alan Kunman asking us to do a favor from the FTN broadcasting booth and dedicating this race. And we'll talk more as the night goes on about what it means as we go racing for John Roark. Kunman tonight will have a special paint scheme and will bring some focus to it as soon as everyone gets off pit road. Roark Strong, the decal on that number 8, as you see in the thumbnail of tonight's broadcast. So we're coming together tonight for a cause, as we often did last season. And we're hoping, of course, some of the wonderful fans here in the Highline Racing League community, of course, are able to spread the word. Now, the pace car will get things moving. And before we talk about the meaning of tonight's event, let's get to work with our racing now as DJ Stagner and company pull forth. The Pocono Raceway is the place to be, and this 2.5-mile circuit will see, all things considered, pretty fair track temperature, although it is on the warmer side. Ambient temp coming in at 78 degrees, very fair in itself, but a track temp nearly 40 degrees warmer, rather nearly 50 degrees warmer. 127 degrees Fahrenheit with a relative humidity of 45%. All things considered, tonight is warm. It's, of course, good weather. Clear skies overall, but it doesn't mean it's going to be the best of weather when it comes to that long-term tire strategy game. In fact, it might be the exact opposite. Drivers are going to be dealing with some tricky tire conditions. I think that's going to be something that plagues the field all throughout. So from beginning to end, watch out to see what drivers like DJ Stagner do, evaluating that circumstance, as it might pay dividends to be a little bit more careful, especially on the opening run. Now as the field comes together once again to go racing, 1 lap to green and less than that, DJ Stagner will lead the field on the inside of row 1, and he'll have with him 29 other drivers ready to get to work. The iRacing official pace car will say goodbye, and we'll get to work tonight, getting things going with our first lap of the John Roark Classic. Coming out of turn 3, DJ Stagner's on the low side. It'll be Terry Brooks right up top, and now it's about time that we get to business. Stagner down low will lead the field to green. We're underway for 70 laps of racing from the tricky triangle. Green flags out from the Pocono Raceway. Stagner at the line is no longer your race leader. In fact, it's a big difference for Terry Brooks and Alan Kunman. And Kunman, as you can see tonight, new paint scheme on that number 8. Roark strong decals on the front of it. You can see on that hood panel and on both door sides. So tonight, Alan Kunman racing for a cause. And since he's up in front already, we'll get to learn a little bit more about what exactly is going on the racetrack tonight. It's our first commemorative event of the season. It's the John Roark Classic, and Alan Kunman came up to us this week and, of course, gave us the opportunity to present this, and so we will, as Alan already takes the race lead. From Alan Kunman himself, we'll read the message for all of our fans here, and we'll learn what's going on. John Roark, his father-in-law, had a severe stroke on February 9th, just a few weeks ago. He spent some time in the hospital recovering and is now in a rehab center in Richmond, Virginia. He's had a ton of support from his community, and everyone is hoping he recovers and returns home very soon. He's well known in the community and loved by many, and he's also a multi-business owner in his hometown. He's asking, of course, to ensure that wife, Dana, and his daughter, Samantha, and his 2 younger children, Adam and Dallas, of course, are kept in everyone's prayers. Of course, when it comes to donations, there's a few things to offer here. There's been a local trust fund set up at his local bank, and if anyone would like to donate to support, of course, John Roark in his recoveries, check out the pinned email account in not only our description, but the chat room at allen.kunman@gmail.com. We'd like to, of course, wish our best to the Kunman family and the Roark family in this trying time, and we're hoping that all goes well in recovery in the coming weeks. And we're thankful first and foremost that he's survived and that it isn't a posthumous event. And we're hoping, of course, for the best being yet to come. Alan Kunman really starting this race strong as well and getting the message out not only when it comes to this night's meeting, but also with his racing. Last time Kunman came to this circuit, it's been a long time, but let's turn it all the way back to season 15. He was a 2-time race winner in that season, and his second and most dramatic victory came at this venue. And it was, when we talk about dramatic, last 5 laps driving to victory. Kunman's strategy game set him apart that night, although he wasn't the dominant driver in speed early on. He came through the ranks very late and was able to score a victory which ended up crucial in the championship fight. He went up against his teammate Jimmy McKee, and at that point, he was the 2-time defending champion Scott Wheeler. All those 3 drivers went into the final full race out ahead, and with Kunman having that bonus backing of victories before him, he came away with the title. Alan is one of the strongest drivers at the Pocono Raceway, and it's showing once again. But let's talk about a driver who needs a strong run and someone who was good last week and is now hoping to be great. That's Terry Brooks in the number 23, and the Westlake Royal Building Products Chevrolet is up to the front of the field right now and doing a wonderful job at that. He's got the field, of course, in his fingertips, but I don't think he's racing necessarily aggressive right now. Instead, he's just going to let the race come as it does naturally. He got a good qualifying position, of course, there in second place, and then from there, he took 1 spot. So he hasn't made all too many major moves. He's just letting it all come as it goes. 70 laps. These first 5 will prove rather inconsequential as the night goes on. DJ Stagner side by side again here with Alan Kunman. Kunman right now going to find himself up 2 on the day from where he started. Stagner down 5 by virtue of course, qualifying in the pole position. Not many big movers yet, but one that we can always count on to be an exciting driver is the Jonestown Jet, the number 6 of Caleb Morrissey. Morrissey is up 7 on the day so far, from 20th up to 13th, and the Channel Lock Ford Mustang looked strong last week, although he wasn't able to really finish things off nearly as well as he would have liked. That's something we've seen from Caleb Morrissey as a consistent trend now for several years. He is a multi-time winner, 3 victories in our coverage of the Highline Racing League, 2 which came in season 15 as well, and 1 last season which he got in a 1.5-mile circuit. But right now, Morrissey is no stranger to using aggression early to get what he wants, and he's doing it to a T once again. At the line, he'll be side by side with Dylan Poteet. Those 2 find each other adjacent for the 12th position here. Dylan actually finds himself 11th. Caleb is 12th, but as he dives into turn 1, he'll get a chance to take that spot. Side by side, Dawson Buchanan here and Connor Holden. And once again, we always like shouting at our friends at Stadium Scene TV. And it looks like when it comes to the championship quest on their Wednesday night dash season, Dawson Buchanan is doing a wonderful job. He's the points leader with 273. Second in that series is Colton Gardner. Gardner right now has 236 points, so we see some of our Stadium Scene friends running strong. And Buchanan in particular has proven to be a race-winning threat as of late. He was also strong last week, got caught up in a major wreck, as almost the entire field did at the very end. Dylan Poteet now side by side with Buchanan. This is to enter the single digits here. 2x2, the number 31 in that Caterpillar Toyota Camry keeps it low. Also, you'll see the number 24. That's Corey Blevins a little bit further behind. Blevins again, well, you see his paint scheme, but tonight he's not with us. Instead, that's the 21 of Jim Fott. The Exaltas are traded back and forth, but Corey Blevins is not racing up at the head of the field. That's Jim Fott right now. Corey is a little bit further back. He's going to be 29th right now from 19th. Doesn't have any major damage, but he missed the start of the race going from pit road and now is completely lonely, as you can see. But we'll go back up to the 21 and we'll show you that right now Jim, who's running in a two-car race, of course, Tyler Hampton, his teammate, right ahead of him. Looks like right now we're working to get those teammates together to get things going. One of the new multi-car teams. For the very first time this season, Tyler Hampton has a teammate for the Hoosier Buckeye Racing crew. Right now, it looks like Fott will be trailing his veteran teammate. Tyler Hampton, of course, known as the king of a season-ending race, but he's also been great to begin the seasons. Hampton finds himself running in the 16th position. Lucas Lodato is just ahead of him here, and that, of course, is your two-time defending winner. Lodato has gotten up to an amazing start. Lucas is traditionally known as a road course winner. He has 2 road course victories in the last 2 road courses we've been to add to previously 2 other oval victories. Connor Holden goes down to the inside through turn 2. He'll save it coming out of the tunnel turn, but he'll fade now outside of the top 10, and he'll fight instead Jacob Hom for 20th. There goes the QCR number 44. Jacob Hom gets across the way, and unfortunately for Connor Holden, who had a podium at Daytona, now it looks like that momentum is going to be significantly stunted tonight as Dylan Wedgwood would pass him down on the inside here. We'll see if Connor can recover. Certainly a lot of time on the table, but not a great place to be as we look back in front again. DJ Stagner is now down to the 8th position, and I gotta wonder, for a driver who got an earlier race in this week, he was with us in the Monday Night Integrity Ignite Series event at Pocono, he's really fading back, as if he doesn't have much control over how he's running. And maybe that's just a sign he has more control than we think, deliberately falling back in the run to prepare himself for the long term. That might be exactly what we're witnessing here out of Stagner, and we've seen it happen before, playing the patient route as opposed to going all aggressive for position. He's now up to P6 once again. His teammate is going to fall back a little bit further in Sebastian Miller. He'll be scored P8 at the line here, and Caleb Morrissey doesn't get to him. Watching from the back end of Seb Miller, the Jonestown Jet is close, and it looks like now Morrissey is looking for a chance to enter 8th place. And talking about the championship standings, Sebastian Miller is 3rd in points currently as the yellow flag flies. Back of the field, we see trouble. Already, Ty Smith down to pit road, yellow flags out. Here's a replay, we'll show you what happened. Looks like Smith is now going to be going 1 lap down as a result of this incident. This is your instant replay, mind you. Number 18 here was going through turn 1, what looked to be alone, and was following Jimmy McKee. Guys went out of turn 1. Looked like no troubles to begin with. Ty was all the way back at the tail end of the field, but now finds himself stalled on pit road here. Just a little bit ahead of him at the time of incident. You can see nobody else was around. Smith through the tunnel turn here, and as he came through, still no trouble. Watching the full lap, of course, to get the full context of the scenario. Jimmy McKee going down to the inside here on Colton Gardner. And as they went through, still nothing all the way at the back. Ty Smith nevertheless making the decision to drop in. At the very same time, the caution flew. Yellow flag is out. Andrew Baker getting back on his way up front. Corey Blevins more the same. The caution flies. And still no major sign as to who was involved. Looks like the majority of the field still keeping itself intact. One more time, we're looking from overhead here, the middle of the back of the pack. And we're still under yellow as the caution flies. Ty Smith is now one lap down. Andrew Baker's going to be at the tail end of the field as well. The number 33 finding himself way back. Matthew Rodriguez hooked up the circuit. It was Rodriguez the culprit. Contact and flipped over. Matthew Rodriguez, the second driver this year to get sent 180 degrees. Colton Gardner tipped him over. Take a ride on board with Rodriguez as he goes up and over. Very bad news, and this could be race ending. And then hit by Gardner and T-boned. Rodriguez going to have to take that one to pit road, as did Ty Smith by himself. Matthew Rodriguez and Colton Gardner involved in your first caution of the day. But as you see Rodriguez there, he is no longer alone. As a matter of fact, the entire field has decided to join him down on pit road, and it's now time to figure out green flag strategy from here. 13 laps in out of 70 at the time of your first yellow flag, and so that means we have, give or take, 55 laps to go by the time we go green. The 64 Stagner is going to find himself with the best pit stall of the day, but he won't be the first driver out. Casey Heschel wins off of pit road. You'll have Alan Kunman in second, and then right behind Kunman it'll be Terry Brooks and Scott Zellner with Sebastian Miller now running in sixth. This will give, of course, the 81 of Connor Holden a great chance to get back up in front. Currently, Swamp Motorsports is 1, 2, 3, 4 in the championship standings. Lodato, Holden, Miller, and Stagner, and they're looking to hold those positions tonight as they face off against Jimmy McKee, the first driver in the field who is not with them. He's 5th in points, and right now 25th in the race standings. Rodriguez tipped over. He should be able to get back to racing as he goes for some mandatory damage repairs, but I can't imagine it's going to be an easy night from here after a T-boning incident with Colton Gardner. Colton's back on the way, but he's got some notable right front damage, and he's going to have to deal with that all night long as well. Colton qualified 30th and last, so if he finishes even one position higher, it's a net positive relative to where it all began. As Colton gets on the way, Alan Kunman again is going to find himself the winner off pit road, and it will be Corey Blevins, the man who leads the field to green if he so chooses to stay out. Again, a risky call. So many times we see drivers on old tires think it's going to work out, and almost always it never does. So I'm surprised that this call is going to be made. I think Blevins right now having faith that 13 laps doesn't need a lot in terms of tire wear, and that's the mindset he's going to use to keep himself up in front as he goes toe-to-toe with Casey Heschel here. Pit stints are now shown on the left side of your screen. Corey Blevins is the lone holdout here. 13 laps of age on his tires. Every other driver in the field, from 2nd to 30th place, they've all gone down to pit road in succession. So Corey is the odd man out, and that really is not a good thing here. It means he's got some more wear on his tires, he's burned them up a little bit more, and it means very likely that he's going to have a significantly slower car, especially through the corners. Grip mattering an awful lot in corners that you can traverse at over 150 miles an hour, and if Heschel doesn't have it, he's going to fade back big time. Green flag and a half lap here. We'll go back at it for your first restart at lap 15 of 70. Still more than half of this race to go, but an opening stint that came and went rather quickly here. Mostly green flag and clean racing too. Just some trouble through the corners that brings us back to a standstill. One driver will test the theory if old tires work or not. That'll be the Corey Blevins machine up top in the 24, but Casey Heschel will be the man with control as we go green once again. Pace car ducks low. It'll be the number 24 up top and the number 49 down low. Green flags out. Casey Heschel and Blevins, and surprisingly, Blevins gets a full car length on the jump. Not only does Corey Blevins find himself quicker on the launch, he also got into turn one clear and away, but as soon as he gets there, he fades back. And now you'll see why those old tires never pan out. Casey Heschel already with a much better run through turn one takes the race lead right back. It's as simple as that. Quick moments. And it looks like now Casey Heschel in the 49 has the opportunity to go the rest of the way in this stint, fighting with Terry Brooks again. Sebastian Miller gets up in the third. He's another driver who got that experience from the Integrity Racing League earlier this week, and that's the benefit of running multiple races in multiple leagues as the week goes on. He's a regular alongside DJ Stagner in the Integrity Ignite series, and the 83 machine, of course, taking those notes and figuring things out now as he finds himself up at the front of the field. Double file many a row deep here with Caleb Morrissey, Matt Muir, Dylan Pote, Tyler Hampton, and many another driver. We're all battling each other amid the fight to enter the top 10 and maybe even enter the top 5. Tyler Hampton takes it 3 now. It's the fight for 10th. Hampton ducks low, and he thinks there's just enough room to make it happen into the tunnel turn. One's got to give. Looks like it's going to be Joshua Sim up high. Sim keeps himself pinned to the wall. Morrissey finds himself all in the middle where he needs to be, and Tyler Hampton now will break away. He'll get under the 97 of Scott Wheeler too, and that gives Hampton 9th place. Coming to the point now, Casey Heschel, your race leader, getting ahead of Terry Brooks and Sebastian Miller alike. Now, when we talk about Miller, he was in the last Integrity Racing League event at Pocono. That was this Monday, and unfortunately for him, it wasn't the best of performances. Miller, he was able to run strong. We saw him up as high as the top 3 early in the race, but he ended up finishing far out of leading contention. Matter of fact, Miller finished in the 25th place, and as such, although he led 10 laps on the day, wasn't able to capitalize on what was a very quick car. His Harry's number 83 Chevy Camaro just not able to get the job done. 10 laps led, so he was able to get that experience up front, but it came mostly thanks to tire and fuel strategy, as he was one of the guys who tried to hold out relative to the rest of the field. His teammate, however, DJ Stagner, who's actually running worse than 16th right now, finished 6th overall. Stagner, while not leading a lap, was able to come away with a 6th place finish and was able to come away with 6 stage points on Monday night. It shows that the Swamp Motorsports crew, they're putting in the work and they're figuring things out in other races. Stagner, of course, got the pole position, but since then he's been lying a little bit further to the back, more than we would expect. Maybe this is part of a more patient approach to ensure success later on, but for the time being, DJ Stagner is laid back, and his teammate Miller has gotten the front again. Alan Kunman now gets by for 3rd place. Alan in that number 8 is looking at Terry Brooks, and he's sensing an opportunity. Kunman, he's been in the podium for the majority of the night, qualifying in 6th, leading some laps early, and he hasn't fallen below 6th place all night long. At the line for Kunman, he'll go P2. Allen now side by side again with Terry Brooks. Casey Heschel finds himself still with the top position here. That number 49 has proven indomitable on this stint, although that just comes from having the inside groove and the control car position on a restart. Corey Blevins, by the way, if you wonder where the outside man was on that restart, he's fallen from second down to 25th. That's the consequence of running with old rubber. Very rarely does it pay off in the short term, but I think that Blevins has a goal that will relate to the long term. 4 tire sets available in this race, not many in the slightest, and since we've already gone down a pit road once, drivers very likely only have 3 more sets to work with. So that means that if we have 3 more cautions, they might run out. The goal right now is that for that number 24 team, if things go haywire, he'll have an extra stint in his back pocket, and he doesn't have to worry all too much about burning his stuff up, because he can always go down a pit road one more time than anyone else and not concern himself with whether or not he has the equipment. He'll have it, and he'll have it in his back pocket, which means that instead of waiting to try to get something done, he can play a little bit of a riskier route. Although right now it means he'll be far and away outside of the leading battle, although Alan Kunman now is bringing a train of many drivers, it looks like from second all the way down to some 15th place, up to your leader in Casey Heschel. The draft proving so critical tonight. 56.5 second lap last time by for Casey Heschel, and this time through across the stripe it'll be a pretty similar speed. At the line, 56.82 for Casey Heschel. Mile an hour on that lap alone going to come in as a 158.656, but with the draft, Alan Kunman last time by ran a 56.328, speed of 160.041, and that's going to be the slingshot he needs to get up in front. Going down the Long Pond super stretch and taking the race lead into turn 1, Kunman is now up and ahead, and he's your pack leader. We often compare Daytona and Pocono based on their 2.5-mile lengths respectively, but I want to take the comparison focus to the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California instead, because those are 2 similar tracks. They're fast, big circuits, but you're not always on the throttle. Something we've noticed tonight, however, unlike the Auto Club Speedway, one big direct pack has been crucial to everyone's success. Unlike the Auto Club Speedway, where drivers eventually seem to break away and file out, right now there's clear emphasis on one driver being the leader with the draft at their disposal and the rest of the field following in their footsteps. It's a huge train to the end of the field right now, and the only drivers who are exceptions, well, they're outside of the top 20 and they have damage. That appears to be the biggest issue. That's the only problem that some of those drivers will face, but the rest are all intact. And it looks like right now from the Pocono Raceway, if you're in line with Alan Kunman, you're good to go. Auto Club Speedway has a lot of good grooves to work with. You can work from the high side, you can work to the bottom, you can use the middle as well. But at a circuit like the Pocono Raceway, usually the inside is the place to be, especially as we go through here, turn 1 and turn 3. Sometimes the high groove works in turn 2. That's called the tunnel turn, and we've seen it work out quite well before. Now let's talk about those 3 turns, because each of them are iconic in their own way, and we like giving this lesson no matter what league we're working with. Turn 1, the Trenton Speedway. Shut down in 1980, with 15 degrees of banking at the very most, and that's what the Pocono Raceway has through its first and highest banked corner. It's not necessarily a Daytona or a Talladega where there's more than 25 and 30 degrees of banking, but it is in its own right a pretty steep turn. Drivers have to deal with more banking through turn 1 than anywhere else on the track, and as such, it's all about being very patient into turn 1 and backing up your run correctly. We're right on board right now with Alan Kunman, and he'll show you exactly how he does it. Watch and listen as he goes into turn 1 here, as he gets into 4th gear, 165 miles an hour across the stripe, now into Trenton for turn 1. slowly but surely made his way in, delicately getting down to the bottom groove and putting the power back on fully from there. Alan Kunman showing exactly how it should be done right now from the front of the field, and a wonderful way to go for Kunman and his company, Casey Heschel and Sebastian Miller. Turn 2 now that we followed through it doesn't have as much banking, but sometimes you can take it through even quicker because that second turn, the tunnel turn, is modeled after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with approximately 11 degrees of banking. It is a less steep corner, but it can be taken through very quickly. The emphasis, of course, on momentum. If a driver is able to pull through with a lot of momentum, meaning that they take their speed from the outside of the front straightaway into the inside of turn 2, they can come out almost as quick, if not quicker, once again, as they go toward the third and final turn. Watch with Alan Kunman right now, and we'll bring back that telemetry on your screen. You'll see exactly how quick he is entering turn 2 and how quick he is exiting, and we can compare and contrast, and we'll show you that a good run through turn 2 will leave a driver with nothing but gains, as a matter of fact. About 172 coming in, and now on the way out, he's coming through at about 150. Watch how much speed Kunman builds up before he goes into turn 3. It looks like he'll get himself up to right about 170 miles an hour before working in once again. And for Kunman tonight, of course, that final corner, less banking than anything else. Single-digit degrees through the Milwaukee Miles final corner. Inspired, of course, by the aforementioned Milwaukee Mile, a 1-mile circuit, the smallest of all replicated, and the caution's out now. We have an incident on the circuit. Ty Smith still on pit road, but the caution is out. Connor Holden is the cause. Trouble for Holden, and we're going to figure out what caused it here for the 81. Connor Holden has not had the best of races, coming into tonight second in the championship standings, but it looks like right now the night has gone from bad to worse as he's involved in our second incident of the day. Holden was at the tail end of the field prior to the wreck here. He was with, among others, Kenny Brooks and Chad Winstead. And as they made it through turn 2, still looked to be no trouble, but it all came through on the exit of turn 3 and going down the super stretch up in front. For Connor Holden, looks like clipped the wall with his teammate DJ Stagner, both swamp drivers involved, but Holden clearly gets the worst of it there. DJ Stagner gets away, Holden not so much. Yellow flag is out. Second caution of the night, Alan Kunman, your race leader, up and in front. Now with Alan Kunman at the helm, it looks like he's kept this opening stint in his grasp. 9 of 27 laps led. He's not fallen outside of the top 6 so far on the day. By all accounts, he's not only been consistent, but he has also been quick. And he's hoping to keep that up as we go toward our first half's conclusion. Again, lap number 35, that's the halfway point, so we're coming up rapidly on that marker. We'll go back green approximately lap 29, lap 30, which means we'll only have 5 or 6 laps to go until we hit the halfway marker and get set to do it all over again. Still hoping to see one more pit stop to end the race. Whether or not it comes under green or yellow depends on the rest of this event, but it currently looks like there's still a prospect of seeing green flag pit stops. Although Alan Kunman decides to drive in this time by, he'll leave Casey Heschel out and away, and so pit road gets busy once more. The entire field, except for, looks like less than 5 drivers choosing to stay out. Heschel there, and now a few more pack up, including the lappers. Heschel, Miller, Zellner, Brooks, and Wheeler, and Lucas Lodato too, all together. But the rest of the pack making their way in. That's the popular call. Taking a look at our pit road exit camera, Dylan Poteet is the man who wins the race off. And the 31 will start in ninth, behind 8 drivers who choose to keep themselves out on track. Then you'll have Alan Kunman, DJ Stagner, Joey Chapman, Chad Winstead, Matt Muir, and Dawson Buchanan there, ending the top 15. Everyone sets themselves back up and again to compete with a new breed of frontrunners at the head of the field, notably Casey Heschel and Sebastian Miller, first and second here, who have decided to stay out. First through 8th, going back to Lucas Lodato. They've all decided to stay with us here on track. Roberto Ramirez right now going to find himself scored 7th and Jimmy McKee P8. As a matter of fact, 8 drivers at the head of the field have all decided to stay on their second pit cycle of the day, which means that the majority of the field has now gone through at least 2 of their 4 tire sets. Bad news when you think about longevity, but it looks like good news overall for some of these drivers like Casey Heschel, who now have a little bit more of a buffer until the rest of the field catches up to him here. I think that's what he's hoping to utilize if he wants to keep himself in front before things get hectic. Heschel dives low. Sebastian Miller will choose to keep himself right up top. And KC decides to fake out the field and head back to the high side again. This will give Terry Brooks an opportunity down low, and he'll be the control car of the bottom groove, but overall this restart belongs to none other than KC Heschel. Heschel is back in control, 8 laps led on the day so far, so very close to the number that Kunman has led so far. Not a lot of clear definition as to who's led the most laps, but we do have a bunch of drivers, about 5 or 6, who've been clearly up and in front since the beginning. Kunman, who is one of which, now finds himself scored in 10th place. So he's not going to be at the back of the field, but this is the lowest spot he's running all night long. And I'm sure he'd love to get back up there at least in the top 5 before we head to halfway. Lap number 35 at the half. Of course, lap 70 for the checkers. The John Roark Classic continues with restart number 2 coming right up. The field is led by the iRacing pace car, but it looks like now things are due to change. Casey Heschel again has control at the restart, and there's Terry Brooks right down low. Side-by-side battle is going to also see the second row swamp motorsport guys. Lucas Lodato, 2-time defending race winner, and his teammate who is 3rd in the championship standings, Sebastian Miller. Both of which are now looking to get back up in front here, and it might be Lodato's first jab at getting the race lead once again. Green flags out. Heschel will best Terry Brooks. Not by all too much, though, and we're back on our way for lap 30. Scott Zellner fighting Roberto Ramirez here, and the Flying Scotsman will come together. 4-horse racing teammates Scott Wheeler and Scott Zellner are going to be up on the high side, and they're going to try to keep it toe-to-toe, although Alan Kunman now heads low himself. Alan, ducking to the inside groove, has himself side-by-side with Jimmy McKee. Coming across the line here, the number 48 machine sees the number 8, leaving him in the dust. Blacktop Racing teammates will see if Kunman can keep that upward trajectory or if he gets caught in the middle of this traffic-induced pack. The traffic is going to be a big problem for every driver, of course, but now with tires being shuffled again and 8 drivers on old rubber ahead, it's going to be even more challenging to deal with. Casey Heschel has to look back. Someone like Alan Kunman, someone like Chad Winstead, someone like Tyler Hampton, who is on the new rubber, they're going to get up there, and they're going to do so quickly. They might not arrive immediately, of course, but it's inevitable now that someone with new tire makes the move to take the race lead. Joey Chapman gets a real good drive on the high side here, and he'll put even Alan Kunman behind him. That will get Joey up to 7th as we take a look on his back end. Tyler Hampton looking high as we head into turn 3 here. Hampton's going to go toe-to-toe now with that Chapman machine. All the while, Casey Heschel is beginning to feel the pressure. 19-time race winner Scott Zellner, the all-time winningest ever driver in the Highline Racing League, is chasing 20 wins. Now he's side-by-side with Terry Brooks, and he's looking to take the race lead for the first time this season. Number 2 is looking to continue a legacy that he has built and he himself has maintained. There is no other driver who's ever reached 10 victories in the Highline Racing League. He stands alone, Scott Zellner, as the man with 19. He's been crossing new paths and building his own legacy for several years now. When we started broadcasting this series, he only had himself 8 career wins, which was even then tied for the most all-time with Jackson Hartman. Since that point, he's left Hartman's mark in the dust, and then some. Big contact! Lucas Lodato, Caleb Morrissey, Chad Winstead, Roberto Ramirez, and a barrel roll! Joshua Sim flips. It's a parking lot in the Poconos. Our biggest wreck perhaps of the season so far. Watch this. And things just got really ugly really fast. And you see Joshua Sim there, but it all begins a little bit further up in front with a guy like, say for instance, Lucas Lodato. Lodato was up in front, running inside the top 5 at the time of incident, and this is when things get bad. Up in the wall, Lodato hits it, then gets involved with his teammate Sebastian Miller. Miller ends up turning Lodato, sending him down to the inside of the circuit. Scott Wheeler spins, as does Miller, as does Winstead, and Caleb Morrissey gets collected. Joey Chapman, Roberto Ramirez, Dawson Buchanan, all involved. But watch what happens particularly with Joshua Sim here as he goes for a full flip. Dylan Wedgwood, Alan Kunman also involved. Winstead already retiring the car, but Joshua Sim with the worst hit of it all. Major suspension damage. It looks like race ending for Sim, as it was for Winstead. The big one hits here in Pennsylvania. Casey Heschel reigns supreme. And it looks like now Scott Zellner and company will decide to head down and in for a little bit more service after that wreck. We'll come back green just past the halfway marker live on FCN. You're watching coverage of the Highline Racing League here at the Pocono Raceway. If you're enjoying tonight's coverage, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. As always, your support is greatly appreciated, and we could never do this without your immense support. Right now, it looks like, anyway, Casey Heschel's got control. He was able to get away in the last few moments from that most recent wreck, and he did so just by remaining with his track position. I think old rubber is what saved him, actually. Had he had new tire, he would have had to make his way back up and fight through the field rather than keeping himself exactly where he is as your top driver. So, it looks like for Heschel anyway, he's in a good position and he's just maintained his ground, exactly what he'd like to do. We'll head back to green at approximately lap number 36 now, so just past the halfway marker. Heschel will have himself up and ahead. Joey Chapman will be second, Dawson Buchanan third, and now Jacob Hamm from 24th up to 4th. He'll be there in P4. Great job so far for the driver of that number 44. It looks like right now Jacob Hamm has a chance not only to succeed in this position, but thrive compared to his Queen City Racing teammates. Corey Blevins now also back inside the top 5 after not putting any practice time in and starting at the tail end of the field, 29th as he missed the start on pit road. Now Corey waiting for his shot. Blevins goes to the inside. Casey Heschel heads up high, and so we'll be back at it next time through. 36 laps in out of 70 when we restart and go green. It'll be Heschel and Buchanan right beside each other as we'll start our second half, and we'll only have 35 laps to go from here. Joshua Chapman chooses top, Dawson Buchanan chooses the bottom, and it looks like now, even though number 4 got briefly involved in that last kerfuffle, he's going to decide to keep himself out on track and push toward victory. Sean Billman, 27th up to 11th here, is also catching up to the pack, and it looks like Billman not only with minimal damage, but also having himself better track position. We'll see what Billman can do. As he previously was ranked as high as 11th here, it looks like he'll send himself a little bit further back again. Some of these rookies you got to keep an eye out for. The highest placed rookie currently is Joey Chapman. Then you'll have a little bit further back Jim Fott in the Hoosier Buckeye Racing, number 21. His teammate, Tyler Hampton, is 2 rows behind him exactly and finds himself right now 12th place overall. Casey's got the race lead. Dawson Buchanan's got it down low. Let's figure out who has it best when it comes down to winning here at the Pocono Raceway. iRacing official pace car says goodbye, and now Casey Heschel says hello to the green flag. We're back on our way. The green flag's out with Heschel getting the move on. .35 laps remaining on the night. Heschel and Chapman 1-2, and Dawson Buchanan slides in for 3rd. Notably now 28th up to 7th, Jason Harris running as high as he's done all night long, and it's great to see now Harris getting an opportunity, something that we haven't seen from him so far today. Jason in the number 88 goes 3 wide now, and slicing through is the number 2 Scott Zellner. Zellner takes it to the inside, and he's not the one to give. Instead, Harris backs off, and Zellner now goes toe-to-toe with Jim Fott. Jim stays high, Zellner's on the bottom, and tonight could be, of course, another chance for the number 2 to finally find win number 20. He had many opportunities to pull over the hurdle and finally get that 20th win last season, but stuck at that plateau of 19. That's the way it goes. Zellner and Jim Fott remain right alongside each other here, but it looks like now Jim gets a better pull down the back straightaway, and he's helped out by the draft from Jason Harris behind him and Matt Muir ahead. Jacob Halm is now going to be the final driver inside the top 5, but with Corey Blevins coming low, things are due to change here. Blevins opting to the inside as they go through turn 3, and out of Milwaukee, Blevins again is up to the front of the field. A driver who's got a lot of expectations on himself, hasn't been able to capitalize on these opening races, although he's had speed, but it looks like once again Blevins has found the front of the field, something we've seen more common out of that 24 as of late, and with him doing it once again, he's looking low and trying to break not only beyond the podium, but into the race lead. 33 laps to go now, and it's Dawson Buchanan to the point, watching as behind now Joey Chapman, Casey Heschel, and your new second place man, Corey Blevins, fight for placement. It looks like now Corey Blevins is going to comfortably have second place, and it's going to mean that he has a chance now to comfortably take the race lead. Blevins to the inside, diving right down low, will take it now from the number 4 of Buchanan, and it's a new race leader. Enter the number 24 of Corey Blevins right now up front. Blevins at the line. He'll take P1. Then you'll have Dawson Buchanan second, Joey Chapman third, and Jacob Hamm then P4. Casey Heschel and Scott Zellner are going to be fifth and sixth respectively, with Matt Muir, Dylan Poteet, Jim Fott, and Roberto Ramirez at the line, concluding the top 10. Now Blevins having a perfect opportunity to keep himself exactly where he is and maybe pull a little bit further. Defense will remain critical now for the Blevins car. He's got a few more turns to go to make it to 30 laps remaining, and then we'll question whether or not strategy remains the same. One more green flag pit stop still appears to be in the cards for the field tonight. It hasn't happened just yet, and with 30 laps to go, unless we keep it perfectly green, well, we're still going to see one under caution. Pit stops are not to be done away with just yet, although a majority of the field, of course, have gotten their strategies down pat. It looks like still Corey Blevins is not done. The job ain't over, and in fact, it's only just begun, as he's only stretched about a tenth of a second in the past lap relative to Buchanan, Zellner, and Joey Chapman further behind. The top 12 are going to be separated by 2 seconds here, and the drivers just outside of it are also fighting hard. There's Jason Harrison, number 88. You'll also have Tyler Hampton and Dylan Wedgwood here, all drivers who are on the boundary of the top 15, trying to go a little bit further in ahead. Jason Harris right now sees the yellow flag fly. Caution is out, and it's going to be for Caleb Morrissey, it appears, with some damage coming through in that number 6. Checking out what happened now for Morrissey and those at the back of the leading pack here. Caution is out with 31 laps remaining, and we're now due to figure out why. "30 laps to go. Yellow flag out in the day for the third time tonight. We're watching to see what could have triggered it. Scott Wheeler got up in the wall big, and it looks like that 97 sliding down to the bottom of the track might just be the main culprit. Suspension issues for the 97 of Wheeler, and the caution will fly. One more time we'll show you with Wheeler here. He was having some big troubles to begin with. See Jim Fott right there? Now finds himself 21st. Wheeler banged the wall. And it looks like very similar problems for Caleb Morrissey, but watch with Jim Fott here as he falls back now to 21st from when the yellow flag flew. Smoke billowing of Matt Muir, and Muir collects the 23 and the 21. Matt Muir with a problem, and it looks like he'll be the culprit for this caution. The Texas native finds troubles up north with now less than 30 laps to go when we go green. Check it out with Matt Muir in mind. Jacob Hamm, Dylan Poteet, Matt Muir all together. Poteet pushing Muir into turn 2, and as they go through that tunnel turn, the number 70 all but comes undone, it appears, immediately following. Contact with Jacob Hamm, sends him down, sends the number 70 back up, and he slides right across the pack. Big hit from Tyler Hampton, and of course from Jason Harris, striking heavy into that number 70. Jim Fott also getting spun around there as you saw. Caution's out. Multiple drivers on pit road getting that damage repaired, but with 29 laps remaining, it's DJ Stagner, your race leader it looks like, of course, of those who are just coming out. Back to pit road again. Corey Blevins decides to stay the race lead overall, though. See here, you drivers were all the way on pit road. Stagner, one of which, and now at last, he's making his way back. John Billman right there with them. And then you'll have Jim Fott and company catching up to Dylan Wedgwood, the last driver to stay out. 8 drivers remain out. DJ Stagner, your former pole sitter, is now your winner off pit road. It's about time the 64 returns to the fronts. Corey Brevins, your race leader, with now 27 laps to go when we return green. Scott Zellner going to be beside Corey Blevins on this restart. Let's talk about the difference in stint here, because it looks like that's going to come into play big time. 8 drivers deciding to remain out, but notably, for those who stayed out, of the 8, 6 went in within the last 4 laps. And as such, they'll have a perfect opportunity to just keep their new rubber. They don't have a lot of wear on it. The disadvantage will be slim, and the track position, of course, will be heavily influential. 29 laps remaining, now coming to 28. As we go green again, it'll be only 27 laps to go. Blevins and Zellner positions 1 and 2. It'll be your 4th restart of the night. Unfortunately, a few yellow flags have come up sporadically today, so we haven't gotten ourselves a full green flag stint, something I'm sure we would hope to have as the night goes on, but it's looking less and less probable as the race has continued. Nevertheless, Corey Blevins and Scott Zellner alike have given us good racing so far, and it looks like now they're accompanied again by those hard-charging front-runners, including your hard charger now in the top 10. 22nd to 7th, that is Jimmy McKee. Jimmy having some internet troubles, but one thing he hasn't had issues with tonight is pace. And 21st to 8th is Dylan Wedgwood, who will be right beside him on this run. "70 laps, of course, until the checkered flag falls, but we've already made the distance of 43. Lap 44 of 70 this time by, 27 laps to go. And who else but the 24 of Corey Blevins to bring us back? 19th to your race lead. It's been a hard fight for the 24 crew, but at long last, he's got the position and he's got the pace. Green flag out for Corey Blevins, and he'll be with Scott Zellner as we go at it again. 4th restart of the night with 27 laps to go. And so now the entire field piles out of turn 1, and they're all together once again. Corey Blevins going to find himself still leading, but it'll be side by side for almost every position behind him. Toe to toe, Dawson Buchanan and Scott Zellner. Moreover, you'll have Casey Heschel, Dylan Poteet and company sliding through, and it's a hornet's nest without a doubt. Side by side, just behind Poteet, Jim Fott and DJ Stagner. Here comes your pole sitter, again the winner off of pit road. And now he's trying to get himself up firmly inside the top 10. Running P10 at the line that time through, and now trailing his teammate in Sebastian Miller. The Swamp Motorsport guys are coming together. And while it looks like tonight, Lucas Lodano and Connor Holden, Ty Smith too, having some more troubles, Swamp is looking for their 3rd consecutive win on the season, and they won't be discouraged by early issues. Corey Blevins has to keep on looking behind him, though, but what he looks at now is the man in front. That is Scott Zellner, 19-time race winner, looking for the big 2-0 tonight. And, of course, what an accomplishment it would be if he at long last comes away with the 20th victory of his illustrious Highline Racing League career. The only driver to cross the 10-win mark and the 15-win mark is now looking to push that barrier even further. And it would take many years at the pace that Zellner's been winning to even replicate his success. 20 victories don't come easy in this league, when many a time a driver only comes away with 1 win a season. For Zellner, he's been able to consistently get away with at least 2 victories a season throughout his entire career. And that's a testament to his dedication on the sim, when many other drivers, simply put, could not match him. He also has 1 special race win, as we call it, and that victory coming in our Coca-Cola 300 ran in the summer of 2023, so he will be looking for his 20th official win in league competition with points-paying endeavors. Casey Heschel low on Dylan Poteet here, 25 laps to go. Dawson Buchanan watching as DJ Stagner and Corey Blevins go at it, and it looks like Stagner is continuing to pick up the pace and make up more position. Stagner clears Blevins. Dawson Buchanan is still watching and waiting as we come across the line now with 24 laps to go. 10th to first for Zellner, and he's now finally leading a multitude of laps. He's so far led 2 on the day, and it looks like now Casey Heschel is diving in for more. 16 laps led out of 47 so far for Casey. He's led the most on the night, and while it looked like beforehand Alan Kunman had the early race in his grasp, instead the Ohio native of Heschel has become the overall dominator when you consider the metrics. Although it looks like now, almost contact there with Zellner. Both drivers wash up the track. Here comes DJ Stagner, looking to take it 3 wide on the inside. The 64 lies down low. And now your pole sitter, for the first time in more than 40 laps, takes the race lead. Although DJ Stagner led this race to green, he has not led a lap tonight until now. 23 laps to go, DJ Stagner to the points. And next time by with 22 laps remaining, we're going to crank it up with our friends at Whiplash Sim Cams. FTN Broadcasting for 2025 and beyond has started a partnership with our friends at Whiplash Sim Cams, courtesy of Pit Stop TV. We'd like to thank them for the opportunity to come on board, and if you'd like to join Pit Stop TV's extensive family of broadcasters, visit their social medias, including their free-to-access Discord server with free trial cameras with an unlimited period of use. That's Whiplash Sim Cameras, iRacing's newest and best option for camera solutions for all broadcasters from amateur to professional. Now with 22 laps remaining this time by, we're going to crank it up once again live on FTN. 22 to go this time through, and from Pennsylvania, we'll go unfiltered and uncensored, cranking it up from the Pocono Raceway. DJ Stagner finds himself ahead now with less than 20 laps to go. We're coming down to 19 and 18. Scott Zellner finds himself still P2, but your pole sitter at long last has found the race lead, and it looks like he's rather comfortable sitting with it from here. We'll see what DJ can do for the next coming laps, but it looks like to end this race, he's finally found his way up in front and is hoping to get the job done from this position. The rest of the upper field battle is far from over as well. Keep in mind right now that you're looking at fights between guys such as Casey Heschel and, of course, Sebastian Miller. Miller right now is looking to keep himself top 3 in the championship standings. DJ Stagner looking to move into the top 3 as his teammates Lodato and Holden have a bit of a weaker night. Swamp Motorsports, nevertheless, they're looking to make something work out and keep themselves as the championship leaders. And with these two up in front tonight, running now first and third respectively, it's a very real possibility the team stays in the exact same order, of course, of team power, although the drivers might shuffle up just a bit. Stagner looking for win number 1 on his season, and he's now beginning to break away from Scott Zellner. We'll see if Sebastian Miller can place any pressure here to make it a swamp 1-2, but it won't be easy as so does Casey Heschel now chase for the podium. Scott Zellner stays second here. A little bit further back, we'll focus on some other battles outside of the top 10. Dylan Wedgwood right now with Tyler Hampton and Colton Gardner. Gardner's been able to get some of that early damage fixed up, and now he's running competitively to fight inside the top dozen. That's the goal right now as he gets behind Jim Fott for 12th place. And Jim, while he's not going to turn over and let him have it, absolutely gonna make it a very tight battle here. The number 21 machine gives way for the first time tonight. Colton Gardner now up to 12th, the highest spot he's running in this second half. And we'll see Tyler Hampton and Sean Billman a little bit further back. Billman was as high as 11th, based on, of course, pit stop strategy. Now it looks like everything's good to go for one last chance. Connor Holden is now going to go for 16th here. Connor looks like he's gotten the front end, for all intents and purposes, saved up and gotten away with all the damage. It looks like now he has a few more chances to make positions up and salvage a little bit more of this race. Jimmy McKee, who runs 5th in the championship overall, is 10th on the track. It looks like he's going to be behind still the Swamp Motorsports guys, at least halfway. Dylan Wedgwood, of course, is going to be a driver of note who's fighting against those Swamp guys. But right now, Jimmy is running ahead of Lucas Lodato and Connor Holden, but he is still behind DJ Stagner and, of course, Sebastian Miller. DJ now leads by about 0.2 of a second relative to Seb Miller. Coming to 15 laps to go this time by DJ Stagner holding forward, and it's a single file trail from leader Stagner down now to Roberto Ramirez. And how about Ramirez getting in the mix very late? The driver is now running in the 17th spot, although Roberto started in 16th up to 7th. Plus 9 on the day, the biggest mover right now in the lead pack, although not the biggest mover in the top 10. That would go to plus 13, Jacob Hamm, 24th up to 9th now in that number 44, and he's had a strong day continuously gaining. And Jacob has proven tonight that the pace he had in the early stint was not a fluke. Working the pit strategy well and coming away with good pace is very impressive. Looks like now that number 44 is not done in the slightest as he makes it by Corey Blevins. Jacob Hamm for 8th place. "15 laps to go up and ahead. 19th up to 8th for Corey Blevins, and of course 16th to 7th for Roberto Ramirez. Now DJ Stagner's really turned on the jets. He finds himself more than 6/10 out in the rest of the field, and he's trying to build that gap and just run away so there's no other issues. Zellner, of course, if he just makes up one position, would continue his Highline Racing League history making and find himself a 20-time race winner, something that no other driver has ever done in this league, and very well likely will never do it again. Zellner has become one of his own driver in this league, the likes of which has become unparalleled. With the Bakers doesn't do it next time by, he'll make a big mistake! Zellner in the wall, popping Miller up and over, and he luckily saves it. Miller, off of all fours for a brief moment, will keep going, but a rare big mistake from Scott Zellner. Scott now runs 7th with suspension damage, and it looks like that number 2 wavers. For the very first time tonight, big wreck, Casey Heschel goes around. And the leaders combust with 13 laps to go. See there, contact with Dylan Poteet sent the 49 spinning, but take it back a little bit further and you'll see what happened here with Roberto Ramirez, of course, getting through as Scott Zellner imploded himself. Take a look here, you'll see what happened. Scott fighting oh so hard to keep it up inside of that podium, trying to defend upon Sebastian Miller in the 83. And it looks like as that all went down, number 2 ran to the tunnel turn and tried to carry all that momentum. Emphasis on momentum once again, but it looks like as he came out of the corner, he got popped down the track, sent Miller nearly airborne, and got in the wall himself. Sebastian Miller gets lucky that he saves it there, but he got flipped nearly into the air. As you saw there, 2 of 4 tires came completely off track, and that car was threatening to go flying like a paper airplane. And as Seb Miller came through here, he watched, of course, as this next incident came by. Contact, Miller slows down, and he gets away with very little damage, only coming from that pop that Zellner gave. 12 laps to go. Caution is out once again. Speaking of that Swamp Motorsports crew, Ryan Potter now in the chat. Great to see Ryan, although not on the track. And we got a request for a shout out for a driver who unfortunately is sitting on pit road. But it looks like right now, spirits in real life a lot better than what's going on in track. Congratulations to Ty Smith getting engaged in Virginia this past weekend. And of course, great news for Smith, and we're wishing the best for the Smith family and his current fiancée. Right now, 29th on track, but I'm sure he's feeling like he's P1 when it comes to what's going on outside the sim. Congratulations again to Ty Smith, and of course the entire Swamp Motorsports crew celebrating, as right now Ty finds himself 36 down, maybe looking for another chance on the racetrack. Although, of course, again, great stuff going on outside. Thank you, Ryan Potter, for letting us know. Right now the team doing real good on the circuit as well, and while it looks like now Jacob Halm stays out, DJ Stagner leads everyone down and in. Four tires and fuel, that's the way to go here. And as Terry Brooks makes his way in, he'll be one of the last drivers to do so. DJ's looking to lead them all out, and it looks like convincingly Stagner will. DJ Stagner, Dawson Buchanan, Dylan Poteet, and Roberto Ramirez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in quick succession will go back green with 9 laps to go. DJ will catch up to your current race leader in Jacob Halm, but we'll of course see how long he decides to stay up here on a risky strategy call. Staying out, although it looks like he's got old rubber compared to everyone else. Didn't work out all too well for Corey Blevins previously, but Jacob is going to take a chance here. When it comes to his pit stint, it's the longest of anyone else here. One of the only drivers inside the top 20 to remain out on a greater than 20 lap run. Nine to go. Of course, when we return green. the checkered flag now draws increasingly near, Jacob Hamm heads to the inside and DJ Stagner again gets a shot up top. Very likely now the high group will get away better than the low, although Corey Blevins did a respectable job last time as the old tire driver getting away and getting out of everyone's way. Hopefully Jacob does the same thing. Roberto Ramirez now up inside of the top 5. Dylan Poteet, Dawson Buchanan back inside the podium. Jim Fott runs in 7th. Colton Gardner is now just in the inside of the top 10. And Jimmy McKee is now smacking 10th once again. Notably, Connor Holden is also going to be scored officially 11th place. Talk about a big recovery for the 81. Didn't look like the best of starts, getting involved in the yellow flag, of course, one of the first cautions on the night. But it looks like right now, although Lucas Lodano is a little bit further behind him, Connor Holden could salvage a top 10. Just going to take a little bit more grit and determination from here, but certainly not going to be the hardest of tasks to gain and keep one position. The 44 of Jacob Hamm now has no choice but to get a real good jump here. It could jeopardize half the field if he doesn't. Green flag flies, and again, Jacob Hamm with a wonderful start, but Roberto Ramirez not only matches him, but might just best him. Ramirez in the 41 now on the inside, while it looks like Stagner's held up high. Hamm blocks up top. Here we go again. 3 wide for the race lead. And if Dawson Buchanan decides to go for a risky move, he can make it 3 wide once more, already getting Jacob Hamm out of sight. It'll leave Ramirez and DJ Stagner toe-to-toe into Indianapolis. It's already the 64 clearing away once again. Stagner played that out just right, waiting, of course, for that number 44 to drive in deep, end up high, wash up and out of the way, and that gives the 64 just what he needs. And that Chevy Camaro now is to the point with 8 laps to go this time by. The 41 of Ramirez dives deep. Now watch on board with Dylan Poteet as he looks for an opportunity to go not only for second place, but maybe even for the race lead as Ramirez takes the lead out of Trenton. Number 64 of Stagner now going to be caught in the middle of the podium. 31 of Dylan Poteet, 3rd place as he started. And Roberto Ramirez, talk about the hard charger. 16th up the first now. He's gone through half the field to get to this point. He will not be denied, and he continues to fight. 7 laps remaining. Joey Chapman now going to find himself running inside the top 5 with Corey Blevins right alongside him. Hey, say hello now to Connor Holden, 7th place for the 81. Something that's taken him a while to get back up to, but it looks like 2nd in the championship standings. He might not lose it tonight so long as he keeps this adrenaline in the 81. He's staying right up there with Corey Blevins and Joey Chapman, which means the top 5 is a real possibility now. But DJ Stagner dives low again. Forget about top 5. He's looking for the race win. He'll take the lead out of 2. This is the type of momentum he's going to have to build up, but as it's now middle three, Roberto Ramirez is significantly better at a corner exit. Poteet gives way, only a distraction for both the drivers who are now ahead of him, but here comes Dawson Buchanan, another character to add to the battle for the race lead. Dawson has himself high now on DJ Stagner. Stagner and Ramirez will both box up the number 4. It looks like more or less that's the only way to keep him at bay here, but it looks like Dawson can't be contained. Here comes Buchanan. The 4 is in second, and Ramirez now has to watch his back. He's being trailed hard by a driver on new rubber. It becomes nearly impossible to defend upon a driver who has significantly better the tire than you, especially when the going gets rough. Buchanan knows now it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and it looks like the time is now. He'll dive into turn 3, take the advantage on the bottom. Ramirez still works the high side just a little bit better, but it is not at all perfect timing. Buchanan will have to wait for his second chance. DJ Stagner lies third now, although he's still inside the podium. What a disappointment it would be to watch the victory slip away just the way it has. 5 laps to go. Roberto Ramirez now taking it down the front straightaway, of course, into the super stretch. He already passed it. Into the tunnel turn. That's what's next. Here comes Buchanan. And now Dawson goes for the race lead. This time by, he'll be neck and neck, and if he lunges any deeper into 3, he'll take the race lead for certain. DJ Stagner now watching, waiting his turn, but it looks like Buchanan still can't get it. Ramirez runs slightly better out of 3. DJ Stagner looks for room up high and scrapes the wall. Buchanan blocking inch to inch, won't let DJ have it. 4 laps to go. That might have been the final straw for DJ Stagner. Just a little rub, not a lot of damage, but he took all that momentum in one foul swoop and had to throw it away. Not the best place to be now Stagner's in. He finds himself still running third, but he had such a good run coming into that corner, and of course out of corner number 3, that to build it up again would take a few laps. And a few laps really aren't on the table now. We only have 4 laps to go. I can't imagine DJ would want to wait any longer here, but it looks like he'll have to at least to take second. Coming to 3 laps remaining this time by, Dawson Buchanan here takes second, but Roberto Ramirez is looking to run the field down to the very end with his victory all his. 3 laps to go, 7.5 miles. Ramirez, Buchanan, Stagner. 1, 2, 3. Tyler Hampton notably getting himself up into the 7th spot here, 19th up to 6th in Corey Blevins, and 11th to 5th in Connor Holden here. It looks like now Holden's gotten himself into the top 5, and while not comfortable just yet, if he gets by Joey Chapman, it could be a surefire race to maybe even take the race lead and the championship lead from his teammate Lucas Lodato. Ramirez is still holding forward, and it looks like right now whatever edge that Buchanan had just a few laps prior, it's dissipated. I don't think he's got the stuff. Unless Ramirez makes a significant mistake, it looks like the margin for error has gotten tighter and tighter and tighter once more. 2 laps remaining. Next time by is the white, and that time through will be official. Buchanan to the wall, and he puts himself there by himself. It looks like now that desperation is creeping in. Ramirez looking to triumph, but if he can't keep Buchanan at bay, there's no guarantees he can win this one. Dawson now looking low, and he's got enough momentum where there's no way Ramirez can block. Just behind, DJ Stagner waits in the wings. If there's any trouble, if there's any contact, DJ is there, and now he's got a shot for second. The 64 pulling a lot better Ramirez than Ramirez is Buchanan. Dawson decides to go up high here. DJ will let him be. 1 lap to go. go. Ramirez, of course, had the lead for the past 5 laps, but it looks like now the sophomore driver has the advantage with 1 lap to go. DJ raced at this track on Monday night. Can he use those lessons to go from 3rd to 1st in the final 2.5 miles, or can Ramirez take the race lead back? Roberto now drives it deep into turn 1, side by side with Buchanan, roughing up the track, contact all the way. Both drivers have to compromise. Now DJ Stagner, waiting to find room, goes all the way to the bottom. They'll go 3 wide for the race lead. DJ Stagner takes the top spot back through the tunnel turn. 1 more corner to go for your pole sitter. Stagner waited till everyone else went for broke, and in that, he'll come away the richest of all from the Pocono Raceway. DJ Stagner rounding turn 3. He got his first chance at the tricky triangle on Monday night. He took those lessons and he did everything he could to find victory lane. DJ Stagner wins the John Roark Classic from the Pocono Raceway. Pole position, checkered flag. Stagner starts and finishes on top. And that is a textbook DJ Stagner move, to go 3 wide on the last lap with his competitors distracting each other. Perfectly played by the 64. He got 1 chance at it in the final 5 laps, and the only chance he was given, he not only took it, but he took it to victory lane. A champion's drive, and you gotta remember he's a 2-time former champ in this series. Nobody knows it like Stagner when it comes to moments of desperation. Swamp Motorsports is 3 for 3 now to open up the season, and DJ Stagner breaks through on his own. Now let's go through your race results before we bring in your top 3 drivers and get a word from the man who made it happen. DJ Stagner wins from Roberto Ramirez in 2nd and Dawson Buchanan 3rd. Joey Chapman 4th, and a huge recovery for Connor Holden to finish 5th place. Tyler Hampton goes 6th place on the day, going from 14th to P6, 19th to 7th Corey Blevins, and it looks like Dylan Pote finishes 8th, with Colton Gardner last to 9th. And Casey Heschel rounding out the top 10. Then from there, you'll have Alan Kunman, Sean Billman, Jim Fott, Jason Harris, and Lucas Lodano for the top 15. Jimmy McKee finishes 16th, Dylan Wedgwood 17th, and 18th Matt Muir, with 19th Caleb Morrissey and Scott Zellner, P20. 21st place then from there will be Jacob Hom, with Sebastian Miller 22nd, Scott Wheeler 23rd, Kenny Brooks 24th, and Joshua Sim 25th, Terry Brooks 26th place, and Andrew Baker 27th, Ty Smith 28th. Matthew Rodriguez 29th, and Chad Winstead 30th and last on the day. DJ Stagner is a driver we see oftentimes multiple times a week. And this case, in particular, it means that much more. For Stagner, he got things going with the Integrity Ignite Series event, which was hosted earlier in the week. That was on Monday night. And from there on out, of course, he got the opportunity to go to the front of the field. He didn't lead laps in that event. He finished in 6th. But tonight was a little bit different than his last time out at the Long Pond Raceway. Starting first, leading 13 laps, and pulling off a textbook move to get the race win, clean as ever, and finding the checkered flag. DJ Stagner, Swamp is now 3 for 3, and you're responsible for their third consecutive win.
Yeah, that was one of the better races I've ever been a part of. Just watching those two in the front, just they were racing really hard and really clean, and I knew that if I ever got beside second place and messed with them, that it would probably cost myself and second, whoever it was at the time, to have to lose our chance. So I just kind of waited until they started racing each other, and luckily the opportunity presented itself, and it was like a now or never moment. So, took it, and it worked this time, thankfully.
And before we talk about how you got that victory at the very end, I'd like to talk about the beginning of your race, because instead of keeping it up there, you moved back to the bottom half of the top 10. I'd love to know if that was part of any strategic game or if you just didn't have the stuff to begin with.
No, I mean, there was absolutely no strategy behind that. I guess I underestimated the grip in the car and just what it could handle. And then I got back in traffic and I wrecked Connor, which I feel kind of bad about, but I actually feel a lot bad about it. But he rebounded to like 5th, so that was good recovery for him, because we both had wheel damage after that. So that was just a very fortunate recovery. Happy that didn't end either of our days.
And a big recovery, as you mentioned, from that incident, clipping the wall at about halfway. But from there on out, a short green flag run to finish things off, fighting with Ramirez, Poteet, Dawson, Buchanan. And you're right about that. One opportunity presented your way, and it looked like you were going to settle for third there until those two roughed each other up. Do you think in any other sense you would have had a chance to dive in and take it?
It's like I said. I mean, I knew that if at any point I messed with second place, that first place was just going to go. So it was almost, if I want to have a chance to win, I have to be patient and wait and just let them figure it out, and then maybe that opportunity will present itself, and it did. So, I mean, it was the strategy in it was not messing with second place. I mean, had I got up there and started messing with him, we'd probably have a very different situation on our hands.
And it looks like in all this circumstance, the one and only shot worked out. Now, you got yourself a victory. You're high up in the points standing so far. Of course, all of Swamp Motorsport is. And from here on out, we've got ourselves a road course race coming up next. So twisting and turning, not a lot of track choices to speak of, but it's going to be very different from the rest of the campaign. I'm sure that you're confident about your team getting something done with Lucas Lodato, but how do you feel about your own prospects?
Yeah, I'll let Lucas handle that one, and I'll just run 14th all day. That sounds like a good day to me. So, I mean, that's just what's probably going to happen. I'm not good at road courses, but I know that with the addition of Lucas, we have a very heavy hitter on the team that can handle those types of tracks. So we'll be pulling for him, obviously pulling for ourselves and trying, but pulling for him, battling at the front.
DJ Stagner, checkered flag is yours tonight, your first in season 19. And before we head off to our next event, any final comments you'd like to leave us with?
I have one question for you. This is a question from the Swamp. This is a good one. Given the recent events of John Cena's heel turn, if you could pick any one driver in Highline that you would like to see turn heel and go on just a warpath, who would it be?
Really, that is a good question.
Yeah,
I like that one, actually.
I have my pick.
I
would love to see a Chad Winstead just menace run. That'd be my pick, but I'd love your thoughts on that.
It's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Winstead's a good one. I'm going to take it back to season 14 when I came in and Wheeler was dominating. We haven't seen that from him in the recent seasons. He's been good, but it would be interesting to see a two-time champ go and completely turn it around. I think that's a good. I think I'm going to take that.
That's good. I like that.
Well,
I appreciate you answering my question.
Well, with that said, DJ, any final other messages?
Just shout out to everybody at Swamp Motorsports. We had a miserable day that somehow worked. I can't really explain that one, but thank Smith, Tank and Steel, and Crawfish for being on the car tonight. So, other than that, great day. Happy it played out the way it did, and looking forward to next week.
Well, there we have it. DJ Stagner collecting the checkered flag, 13 laps led from the pole. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
DJ Stagner on the move. Roberto Ramirez shows out strong, and he's one of the better road course guys, too. But tonight, at the Oval, he goes up from 16th to 4th and comes away oh so close. That last lap, of course, making the difference.
Oh, hello.
Hey, Roberto, we got a copy now. How you feeling?
I'm not really feeling too great. Honestly, I've had some type of flu. I don't know what in the world has been going on, but yeah, I felt pretty terrible all day. And then I only actually signed up to do this race, and I'm full time, but like I honestly was about to skip this race just because I wasn't feeling good. So that how you feeling is a loaded question, but no, I feel good. That was a heck of a race. Felt like I was kind of off strategy, missed the start, and really didn't have anything go my way. And then, ironically, it seemed like what actually turned the day around was when I got in that big old pileup off of the tunnel turn on lap 32. And yeah, I don't. It's one of my favorite car track combos on the sim. Haven't gotten to do it in such a long time, and it was really nice to be up front battling for the win at the end, racing Dawson and DJ. Wish I would have been a little bit more patient on the last lap. Probably didn't need to get it all in 1 and 2, or I guess just 1. There's only 3 turns here, but yeah, I probably didn't need to go for it all in 1, and then kind of used up the 4 a little. So sorry to him for that. I don't know if we actually made contact or not. I haven't looked at the replay yet, but I could see as soon as I got off of 1, I knew exactly what DJ was going to do, and he darn did it. I just didn't have enough right front left on the car, but yeah, overall, heck of a race. Definitely a nice way to kind of end the day.
And a strong performance, all things considered, making significant gains here. Now, I will tell you this much. Starting 16th, you mentioned the second half really turning it on. Was there any particular reason that something clicked in your mind or something about the car came to you?
Yeah, it was it was a like I said, it was a crazy start to the race. I missed the grid, and from that point on, I knew I'd probably have to do something different with the strategy, and I'd saved a set there. Saved a set on the caution, one of them, beforehand, and I was hoping that a caution would fall at the right time, that I could be able to take advantage of having an extra set. And it did, but unfortunately I was in it. I guess that yellow kind of took enough cars out of contention. That at that point it seemed that most cars that were on my strategy were either out of the race or pretty badly damaged. So somehow, some way, that yellow that we were in was key to cycling me through the front. I didn't have too much damage from it, and I was able to drive up to the front after that and just stay there.
Keeping it up front till the very end. Second place today. Next week we go road course racing. We know you've been very strong at those races historically, so maybe a chance to go for, as we often say, one spot higher, but you might be one of those early picks to get it up front.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that, coming off of back-to-back top 5s. It's fun. Like, you look at last year in the Chicago Street Race, and I was so disappointed to not win that one. But we're gonna go in with a bit more tempered expectation this season. Just try and get the car in the top 5 a little. If we get 3 straight top 5s, that'd be great. But just to run the top 10 is really what we want from that. I mean, it's nice to have the road course early in the season because I feel like I'll be strong there, and it's not like a case of having to save the season there like it was last year. So a lot more laid back, and damn, David, I did not feel good at all today, and P2 feels pretty nice, and maybe I'll wake up and won't have a fever.
Perhaps a chance to get things sorted out, as you said, outside of the sim racing world. But tonight, taking care of business, second place. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with, Roberto?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone as always thank you guys, FTN, for putting on the broadcast. Thank Adam, Kendall, Toby, everyone who's historically put on this league. It's always a lot of fun to run these races, and yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Roberto Ramirez, second place on the day and 6 laps led here from the Pocono Raceway. Thank you again for your time.
Absolutely, thank you.
And finally, a driver who was still awaiting that chance to find victory lane, Dawson Buchanan, who came on strong at the very end and almost got there for victory. 3rd place, just behind a half second on the race victory here, Dawson.
Yeah, it was. I don't even know what to say. It was a ton of fun. I wish I could have had that last lap back over again. I felt like I got used up quite a bit there in turn 1, so I would have done something a little different there. And after we got used up in turn 1, we both were so slow, and third just was able to blow right past us. But I mean, overall, it was a good run for me. I didn't feel like I was that strong to begin with, so good strategy there and good recovery.
Strategy call is working out especially strong at the very end. You started 7th. You got actually involved in one of those bigger wrecks we noticed, but the damage seemed to be minimal enough to keep things going. Was there anything in particular messed up on your side from some of those big incidents? We saw a parking lot or 2 overall, but you came out just fine.
Yeah, no, I didn't. There wasn't any damage there. I hit pretty hard, I felt like, in one of those wrecks, but there was no visible damage or mechanical damage or anything there. So I got very lucky there. Yeah, definitely.
And it looks like just able to avoid the incidents and then go from there. Let's talk about those final 20-some laps and tire strategy. It was all over the place for the most part. You came on very strong to get inside the podium battle, but it almost looked like you stagnated. Maybe you wore your stuff out. I'm not sure what you were feeling on the inside, but you came in quick, and then it became that fight between Stagner and Ramirez where things slowed down.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when you got up there, everything's so close and it's hard to pass. But I mean, definitely, yeah, it didn't help getting up there as fast as I did. But I knew that if you can get up there, you can hold them off. It's easier to hold them off than it is to go past them. But yeah, it definitely didn't help me any. That's for sure.
And nevertheless, 3rd place on the day here, building up some good momentum as we go into our next road course race. You had some issues last time we went road racing with the Chicago Street Circuit, but you had top 10 pace before that point. Maybe a chance for a little bit of redemption?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'd love that. I'm not a great road course driver as we saw from Chicago. I think I looped it myself or something. So just if I can have a clean race and not hit anybody and not hit any walls, I'll be satisfied. I don't care where I finish.
Well, Dawson Buchanan pulling it together for your first podium of the season here from the Pocono Raceway. If you have any final comments, the floor is yours.
Yep, I want to give a shout out to my crew chief and spotter there this race, John Miles. Also my team owner for Wednesday Night Dash. So shout out, John.
Dawson Buchanan, 3rd place on the day here from the Pocono Raceway. Thank you for your time.
Sir, thank you.
Buchanan finishes 3rd. 2nd place is Roberto Ramirez, and DJ Stagner from pole position gets the job done. And it looks like 2nd time was the charm for the 64, 6th place in the Ignite Series event here, and a victory at long last in the Highline Racing League. Swamp Motorsports now is 3 for 3 to open up the year in a wonderful back-to-back-to-back affair, and they might be the favorites to go for 4 consecutive as we go road course racing next week with their star, Lucas Lodato. Stay tuned, however, for what's next to come, and that, of course, will be a road course. We don't quite know which, but the same time, same place, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, live on FTN. From the Pocono Raceway, you've watched coverage of the Highline Racing League Westlake Royal Building Products Premier Series. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Thank you for tuning in tonight live on FTN. We hope you enjoyed our coverage, and we hope you have a fantastic night.